Hello Baphomates, it's me again, Joe Fortuna, and this is just going to be a nice little recap on some of the stuff that's happened this year, so sit down, I hope you enjoy. So as time of recording, today's Boxing Day, so I thought I'd do a little video for because I've not really done one for a while. I've been doing a lot of TikToks at the moment, so a lot of my focus has really been on that. And so at the moment I've now reached almost 2,800 followers on TikTok. So if you're from TikTok, thank you very much for following me there. If you're not on if you're not following me there, then links in the description and whatnot. We all know how that goes. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun on there. Come across a lot of Satanists from all different stripes, and yeah, just having a real good time on there. There's a really good community on TikTok for Satanists. I've had a great time on there. Other thing you may have noticed and seen on my social media, on my Instagram and Twitter, you'd have noticed that my horns broke. My lovely little horns. So basically, these were on my bed. I was leaning over to grab something. Next thing I know, I heard a snap. These are under like my arms. So these are broken at the moment. But thankfully, I'd bought these a few months prior. So I do like these. I'm going to get these fixed. But for the time being, I'll still use these. I still do like these, but these are more for like more of like a bold look. You know how it goes. So that out of the way, as we've just had our festive season, whichever season it is you celebrate. I got some very interesting gifts. Last year, my girlfriend at the time got me a cool reversible necklace with the symbol of Lucifer on one side and the goat-headed inverted pentagram on the other. That's pretty cool. I got some really cool t-shirts, Baphomet t-shirt, and so one friend got me, if you saw on Twitter and Instagram, one friend bought me a Not Today Jesus t-shirt, and my other friend got me a Not Today Satan cushion. So I think some of my friends might be a bit confused. Another thing I'd like to say is thank you guys for all the support for you on YouTube as well. That's been quite fun. Especially all of you who went up watching my God's Not Dead 4 review, because at this point, you would have thought they'd have proven it by now, surely. But no, thank you all for watching that one. That's been my most popular video so far. I've got a lot of laughs and so much Bible quotes thrown in the comment section. There's more Bible quotes currently in my comment section than there are in the actual Bible, or at least the Old Testament at least, which is always quite funny. But yeah, now I've been online as a Satanist for almost 2 years now. There's a lot of Bible scripture that gets thrown at you, which is always a very weird thing, because when you consider, if I'm going to be convinced by like the Bible, you've also got to kind of prove that the other books aren't true, but that's a whole other thing really. I also did a trailer reaction for the film Reason, which is also done by Pure Flick, so do check that out. I'll probably leave a card at the end of this. But I've been having a lot of fun on YouTube as well. As I said, the Satanic community online has been amazing. You guys are awesome. And if you're not part of the Satanic community, and it's something you're interested in, give it a look. There are lots of great people, lots of different factions and little different groups. You'll find your place. But moving on, I do plan to do more YouTube videos in the future. Those of you who'd followed my YouTube tarot channel, I did upload one for Christmas, so I do hope to actually kind of get more into the flow of doing tarot cards again in my other channel. So if you do enjoy those, I hope I should try and get some more stuff done on there, or I should try to get more stuff done on YouTube. But at the moment, it is more of a TikTok focus because they tend to be a lot easier and a lot quicker to maintain. Because I can like do a quick video within the 10 minutes at work, during my lunch break, that sort of thing. It's also been a very interesting year for me in the fact that a lot of more of my friends are now aware that I'm a Satanist, and I'm more open with it, like outside. Whilst at home, I've now informed both my parents that I'm now an atheist, and so I've then had to argue as to why I'm allowed to celebrate Christmas because, you know, Christmas is only for Jesus, nothing else. So of course we have to, both me and my father then have to explain as to all the bits of Christmas that got nothing to do with Jesus, but we put it all in anyway. So all I'm going to say is, to those of you who might argue with me, I'm really sorry, but about 90% of the stuff you do at Christmas isn't about Jesus. You can retroactively say that it is, but it isn't. It's mostly pagan, so calm yourself. I've now also managed to be a bit more comfortable in conversations about opposing views when it comes to religion. Because I've been watching a lot of, so I watch stuff like Talk Heathen, Atheist Experience, Vice Rhino, Seth Andrews, Aaron Ra, a lot of that group, and the ACA, and they have helped me be able to kind of put together kind of my thoughts on how I view existence, as it were, and kind of get to grips with some of the arguments that religious people may have that I may not have heard before, and have a better idea of how to structure what I'm trying to say, and even just some basic things as explaining definitions. So so I've learned that if I'm having a conversation with someone, and they would say a particular word, I say, okay, what, and I'll basically say, like, what do you mean by this? So I want to make sure that we're using this same word in the same way, because if we're using the same word in two different ways, it's going to get tricky. And I've also learnt to pick up particular phrases such as scientism or evolutionism, which is basically the only people who use that are those who pick and choose science and don't believe in evolution. So I've kind of learnt to know when those words are being used, the context in which they tend to be used, and I've got a better idea of when I'm having a conversation with someone of whom is religious and has a belief and has a God belief. I have a better structure on how to actually discuss it, and also knowing how to talk to them on the same level without making it seem like I'm trying to change their mind, and just have a level discussion. Although I did have a time a while ago when there was a man doing a thing on the street. He had an A board. I mentioned this on TikTok. Guy had an A board, and it's basically saying like, oh, what is this circle? And I'm like, well, okay, this is obviously like a massive this isn't a simple thing as it looks. So do like a black circle and like little dots to look like stars. And I'm like, well, okay. And he goes, how much does this weigh? And at this point, I'm like, okay, I know you're going to try and suggest something, so I've got questions. So I'm saying, well, I don't know what it is, so I can't accurately say how much it's going to weigh, because I don't know how big it is. I don't know if it's thick, you know, if it's hollow, this, and this. And then and then he started making statements like, if we had two moons, we'd be ripped together by tidal forces. And I'm like, well, technically it depends on how big the other moon would be if we had two moons. Basically, it's like you're saying all of this stuff as if it's 100% fact, but there's a lot of stuff that would have to be involved. There's a lot of physics, there's a lot of maths, and anyway. And then so he wound up saying, so he had like a circle in the middle, two crescent moons, and then whilst he's talking to the audience, of which I was one, he put a line through one of the crescent moons. So he basically just had it written as God. And I'm just standing there and I'm like, I like how you've just decided to sneak God into this. Now, if you want to put God into a situation, fine, but one, don't try and sneak him in through the back door, or her, and at the same, but because that's a bit dishonest, and but at the same time, if you want to kind of say, look, God did this, and you know, if it, you know, science says X, at least try and have a better grasp of what science actually says about the topic, rather than to say, well, science says this, so therefore God, because that's a God of the gaps argument. To which, at that point, when the gentleman did this, I just stood up, just walked away and said, look, I've had enough of this. I see what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. Bye. Got very frustrated. But yeah, so I've got a better cool head now. I like to call that my angry atheist moment. But I recently had a conversation with a colleague from work. We met up for a cup of coffee because we really like Doctor Who. And so he's told me that he's an evangelical. So of course my reaction was, oh dear, this is going to be tricky. But he has respect for me and my opinions, and I have respect for his. Once again, I might not agree, but I'm not going to call him an idiot either, because that's not fair. But we, even though we had a difference of opinion, we were able to have a conversation about our differences and about our perspectives. So of course I was saying to him that, well, I think he said something like, evolution tries to prove like how life started, and like, not really. It's more about, evolution about the diversity of life, not about how it began. That's another field. And so, if nothing else, I hope that he walked away with at least an idea of the perspective of how he views the opposition is different. I don't want to change him, convert him, or what have you, but once again, I'd like him and other people to think that if you're going to make an argument on behalf of someone else, do it as a steel man, not a straw man. But yeah, and if you're not sure what either of those two mean, a steel man is basically when you are talking on behalf of another person and you are using their arguments and representing them in the correct manner and saying what they do say, whilst a straw man is basically when you misrepresent someone's position and then argue against it. But I've waffled on too long about that. Yeah, so hopefully in the future I'm going to try and do a bit more content on here. As I said, if you're not following me on TikTok, you can follow me there. Links down in the description. And if you are following me on there, thanks for the follows. I do appreciate it. And overall, I hope you all had a great holiday season, whichever you celebrate. And I'll catch you all later. And remember to stay safe and live deliciously.